Admiral Vaughn reclined in his command chair, a confident grin on his face. As the holographic screen flickered to life, the image of the SS Relic hovered before him. A ship so old, it might as well have been a ghost drifting since the dawn of space itself, rust-covered, scarred by time, and aimlessly floating through the void. It was a remnant of the forgotten Galactic Union. For this, they had dispatched their best fleet. Vaughn found it ridiculous. This was what the ancients left behind. He laughed as his officers exchanged amused looks. They all knew why they were there, not for a challenge, but a spectacle. "It seems we'll be putting this ancient fossil out of its misery," Vaughn said. His words were interrupted. Captain Laurel, stationed at the tactical console, stood with a furrowed brow. Admiral ... sensors are detecting unusual readings. "There's still power. It's not entirely dead," Vaughn sneered. "Old batteries, perhaps. Nothing valuable," but Laurel didn't flinch. His fingertips tapped the console again. "Admiral, I advise. Caution, we don't understand this ship's capabilities." Captain Barron scoffed. "Are you implying we should fear a museum piece?" Laurel paused, carefully choosing his words. "No, sir. I suggest we proceed ... intelligently." Vaughn's sneer faded. "We'll prepare and approach on my terms, fire on my command." The fleet aligned. Sleek, shining warships in the void. Targeting systems locked onto the drifting hulk. Vaughn imagined the explosion ripping through the Relic, tearing it apart and scattering its bones like ashes in space. Fire! Pulses of energy lit up the dark, roaring toward the ancient ship. Vaughn leaned forward, anticipation tightening in his chest. But instead of the satisfying burst, the rays struck ... nothing. They vanished against an invisible barrier. The Relic was unharmed. Confusion replaced amusement. "Full power," someone barked. The bridge crew hesitated, then launched a second barrage, more concentrated, more precise. But again, the beams dissolved on impact. The Relic merely shrugged off the assault. Laurel's voice, now strained, broke. The silence. "I think we've underestimated it, Admiral." Vaughn's jaw clenched. "That's impossible. That ship is millennia old. What kind of shielding system could still be active?" Then the Relic stirred. A low hum, faint at first, began to vibrate through space. Lights flickered across its hull. Systems powered up, flashing in sequence like a sleeping giant rising from an eternal slumber. Laurel's voice wavered. "Admiral ... ship is powering up?" Vaughn gripped the armrests. For the first time, doubt crept in. "We bring it down, now." But before he could finish, a brilliant flash tore across space. The Relic struck back. A single, precise blast vaporized one of the Union's destroyers, reduced to glowing debris in an instant. The bridge fell silent. Vaughn watched, stunned, as his finest warship was erased. This was not how the mission was supposed to go. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. All his bravado ... dawn, replaced by annoying fear. "It's not just a relic ... double quote," Laurel whispered. Vaughn snapped out of it. "Retreat." Reorganize, but he already knew. It was too late. The Relic was awake now, fully, terrifyingly awake. And whatever power it had once possessed, it still did. Perhaps even more. It moved with unnatural grace, as if centuries of decay had never touched it. Its weapon systems were ancient, yet devastatingly advanced, more precise than anything. The Union had, one by one, it targeted the remaining ships, dismantling them with merciless efficiency. "We have to withdraw," Laurel shouted now, panic bleeding into his voice. "Admiral, we must leave this place." Vaughn watched as another cruiser disintegrated. His fist trembled. His fleet, his legacy, was being torn apart. How could something so old ... be so powerful? As the fleet scrambled to escape, a pulsed signal burst from the Relic, dark, resonant, and ominous. It wasn't just a warship. It was a beacon, somewhere in the frozen void. Others were listening. Other ancient ships stirred from forgotten corners of the galaxy. The fate of this fleet had been sealed, and perhaps so had the fate of many others on the flagship's bridge. Warning lights flashed, voices cried out. "Admiral." Vaughn stood frozen, eyes locked on the hologram. As the relic obliterated yet another ship, Captain Laurel's voice barely rose above the din. "We can't take another hit. We must—" "No," Vaughn growled, regaining his voice. "We hold our ground. There has to be a weakness." "Sir," Laurel said gravely, "you know better." The relic moved like a predator, weaving through the battlefield with ruthless intent. Every strike was precise, calculated, guided by an adaptive AI growing smarter by the second. Every Union tactic was countered. Every move ... predicted. "Target its engines," Vaughn barked. "Buy us time." The remaining ships rallied, launching a barrage at the Relic's propulsion systems. For a moment, the engines flickered. Hope sparked, then came another surge. The ship responded, adapting instantly. Laurel stared at the screen. "It's absorbing our attacks." Vaughn's jaw locked. "This makes no sense." "That ship should be Admiral," Laurel shouted. "We've detected new signals. At least 2 more, just like the Relic. They're converging on our position." For the first time in his career, Admiral Vaughn felt true fear. This wasn't one ancient vessel. This was a fleet, a forgotten nightmare, awakened at the worst possible time. "Admiral, we must go," Laurel pleaded. "We have no way to fight this." Vaughn's knuckles whitened on the chair. "We can't just run," he muttered. "If we don't, we'll be wiped out," Laurel said, firm and final. A silence fell, broken only by the screams of ships dying in the distance. Vaughn felt every heartbeat like a countdown. Retreat. It was the only choice left. "Get us out of here," he whispered bitterly. Laurel didn't hesitate. The order went out, and the surviving Union ships fled, engines blazing. Running from the Relic they had mocked. Vaughn watched as the flagship struggled to stay ahead of the carnage. But then the bridge lights flickered, the hum of the engine stuttered. Laurel froze. His console went dark. His eyes widened. "Admiral ... dub," he whispered. "The Relic just hit us with an EMP. We trapped." The Relic loomed ahead, massive, implacable, and impossibly ancient. Its weapons charged. Laurel spoke, voice barely audible. "We're done, sir." Vaughn said nothing. His eyes never left the ship that shattered his pride. And the Union's finest fleet. There was no escape. The Relic had come for them, and it would not stop until nothing was left. Laurel stared at the broken control systems in front of him, forcing himself to regulate his breathing. Around him the bridge was eerily silent. Only the faint hum of emergency systems persisted, barely keeping the once mighty Galactic Union. Flagship alive. Outside, the SS Relic loomed, an ancient monster growing larger with every passing second. Its archaic systems glowed like eyes in the dark. "Laurel." Someone whispered behind him, "We need a plan." But Laurel knew the truth. The Union's finest fleet had been annihilated, and their flagship, their pride, was now powerless, caught in the grip of something they never understood. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his jaw clenched. The weight of failure pressed down on him like a vice. When he finally spoke, his voice was hollow. "We can't stop it." Laurel's heart sank. Never in his career had he heard such defeat in a commanding officer's tone. Vaughn had always been the embodiment of authority, unshakable. Now he was silent, staring into the void. "You can't just give up," Laurel said, his voice firm but respectful. "There has to be a way forward. Something we can try." A long silence followed. When Vaughn finally responded, his words were so quiet they were nearly unrecognizable. "Do you know what that ship is?" he said. "It's not just some relic of forgotten human technology. It's a legacy. From a war we were never meant to remember. From a civilization we forgot." He paused, eyes sharpening. "And it was built not to be resisted." Laurel's breath caught. Rage bubbled in his chest. "Then what do we do? Just watch it destroy us? Let it break us without lifting a hand?" Vaughn turned his face away, voice hardened. "There's nothing to see. It's already done." Before Laurel could respond, the silent ship spoke. A piercing voice cut through the tension, echoing across the bridge. "Stand down. This is your only warning. Your blood does not interest us." Laurel's blood ran cold at that voice. It was calm, collected, human. He turned to Vaughn, whose face had gone pale. "It's speaking to us," Laurel whispered. Vaughn didn't respond. He just stood there, frozen. Laurel rushed to the communications panel, hands trembling. "This is Captain Laurel of the Galactic Union flagship. Our systems are down. We are unarmed. We pose no further threat." Silence. Every second stretched. Unbearable. Then the voice returned. "Oops, you fired on the relic. That was your mistake. And mistakes have consequences." Laurel's heart pounded in his chest. He glanced at Vaughn, who remained still, unreadable. He knew the Admiral had already given up. But Laurel couldn't, not yet. "We didn't know," Laurel said aloud. "If we'd known it was a human ship, we'd never have attacked. We were following orders. We thought it was abandoned." Another pause. He felt eyes, unseen, watching. "Judging." The voice replied, "That has always been humanity's curse. Conceit. You saw a derelict. You saw weakness. And now your fleet lies in ruins." Laurel stepped back, his breath shaky. "Please, we were wrong. We know that now." The voice was quieter. "The relic does not tolerate trespassers. But perhaps you may learn." Then silence again. Suddenly, Laurel saw something that made him step closer to the viewport. The relic, without a word, turned. Its massive engines powered up, humming like a beast ready to strike. Yet it didn't fire. Vaughn finally spoke. "It's not retreating. It's done. It already won." A bitter smile crept across his face as the SS Relic slowly vanished into the stars, and the voice, softer now, lingered in their minds. "Let this be a reminder. Humanity has not vanished. Our reach exceeds your comprehension, and if you forget again, we will return." The bridge was silent, the ship crippled. Laurel and Vaughn said nothing where the relic had been. Only darkness remained, Laurel's.